Tuesdays with Sistah Scifi. This is Sistah Scifi Wind Down Wednesday, where I work hard to make Wednesday your new favorite day of the week. Today we're here with Jennings and Damian Duffy, who did the graphic novel adaptations of Parable of the Sawyer and Kindred. We're supposed, and this is continuing the celebration of the start of the book Parable of the Sawyer, which started. So while I work to invite John and Damian, please let me know in the chat how you. Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for rejoining.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You hear me
I
okay?
can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you're buffering now. That's funny.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on my home Wi-Fi, so I don't know what the problem is.
It's probably Instagram.
It's probably Instagram. Okay.
Now let me get Damian back, who I saw. Yeah, it happens a lot.
Dang it. All right. Well, we can make do. I'm here. So.
Yes. I'm just trying to accept Damian's request.
Okay.
So he should be here any second. So so it's like we're playing a fun game of tag. So while we wait for Damian to join, yay! The gang's all here. Okay. So let's start from the top. If y'all would introduce yourselves to everybody watching out there. Again, we are discussing Parable of the Sawyer, which started in 2024. John Jennings and Damian Duffy are part of the dynamic duo that did the graphic novel adaptations of Kindred and Parable of the Sawyer. We'll talk about Parable of the Talents later on today. But yeah, let's start with introductions.
Damian, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Damian Duffy. I'm a cartoonist, graphic novelist guy. I'm also a adjunct lecturer at the School of Information Science, University of Illinois. And yeah, I've been working with John for doing comics, curating comics, studying comics, publishing academic comics, all the comics things. And yeah, I think that's all I have at the moment, John.
Awesome. Yeah, me and stated, we've been working together for many millennia, as J2D2, making comics together. We started working when I was still teaching at University of Illinois back in the day. Anyway, so currently I teach media and cultural studies at the University of California at Riverside, where I teach courses on Afrofuturism, race and horror, comics, surprisingly, Black superheroes and politics. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm a graphic novelist, graphic novel editor, writer, artist. As Damian said, all the things with comics that you want to talk about, we do. So yeah, and that's where we are. So, and we both started in the independent publishing area too. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
To state. Yeah. So that's kind of like how we started.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I mean, we started.
That's really fascinating.
Both in like, making our own comics, and then we met, and then started making comics together. Started curating comics shows and things of that nature.
We're both self-publishing when we met,
Yeah.
I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
And but since then we moved on to independent book publishers, and with the Octavia Butler work, larger publishing house now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. And then we also have to go up Megascope just because.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, duh. Yes, I am a horrible marketer of books. Yeah, actually, I'm the curator of an entire line of graphic novels dedicated to BIPOC creators who work in speculative fiction called Megascope. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's late in the day, and I got, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but yeah, when we have 10 books out, and right now, and they're also with Abrams as well. So, yeah, our latest book is called Devour, which is a Anansi the Spider horror story. Okay, cool.
I love it. Odyssey is here dropping links. So as we mentioned stuff, Odyssey will drop the link. So they'll probably drop the link to Devour soon, and maybe the Megascope line. If you love this conversation, if you're like, oh, I want to know what Damon's doing next, what John's doing next, you can click this little white arrow and you can follow whoever you want to follow, but hopefully all of us on Instagram. So there's a lot we can talk about. It's Black Speculative Fiction Month. It's the 31st anniversary of the publication of Parable of the Sawyer. This is the year that Parable of the Sawyer starts in 2024. So let's start there. Let's start with, how did you feel the first time you read Parable of the Sawyer, or your first Octavia Butler read?
You're breaking up pretty badly. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I also cannot hear. And I think you're back.
Are you back? Yeah, you broke, like that whole thing is.
Who left? Because I'm here. Can you hear me? Did I cut out?
Now we can. Yeah, you kind of broke up really towards the back half there.
Like an alien language.
Okay, so you're like, I didn't hear the question. I was like, I wonder why there's no response. Okay, that explains it. How did it feel the first time you read Parable of the Sower?
It terrified me. It was after my son was born, which I think was part of it, because it is so much about thinking about the future, which has a different meaning, than before having kids, and now having kids. But yeah, I got maybe a third of the way through it, and I had to put it down because it scared me so much. It just I think because it is, and the things. So that's how I felt first time I read it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say, like, when we started working on Octavia Butler books, that Kindred actually affected me more at first, but then again, like Damian wisely said, this is before I had a kid. Kids changed everything. So yeah, so what happened was, once we first started working on, because I don't think I read it until much later, actually, Parable of the Sower. Introducing myself to the text again, in the middle of my wife's pregnancy, was really, really harrowing, actually. So we're having a book baby. I had a book baby and a boy baby at the same time. Like, literally, like, I have images of my kid Jackson in my lap while I'm drawing Parable of the Sower. It's crazy. Yeah, I just one of them just popped up in my memory on Facebook. I was like, oh man, like, I was like literally like holding him and then drawing terror and trauma, in my lap, So it was, yeah, it was pretty raw. And I remember editing the images for Sower while, just in the middle of all this stuff, and it just changed the perspective. Like Damian said, it definitely like shifts how you see the work when you become a parent. So, yeah.
Adapting any of Octavia Butler's work is such a big thing to hold, right? Particularly this text, right? Because so many people hold the words so dear. Like, there's a religion in it, and many people look at Parable of the Sower as almost a religious text. Yeah. So how did you ground yourself in thinking about the graphic novel adaptation?
I mean, so part of it for me was having already done Kindred. That helped a lot. So I'd already sort of gone through I mean, it's still there, but it's much less with the parables. This feeling of like responsibility and pressure with Octavia Butler's work. I was just more confident in the adaptation the second time around, just because I did know what the editors were looking for, the estate's looking for, what we're trying to give to the audience. And then I guess my main difficulty with this one in adapting it, which actually this is a slight tangent, but because it was so prescient and so close to what was actually happening at the time, like I had to get off social media and stuff because it's this quintessential dystopian science fiction, but why does it feel like documentary? So that was a big difficulty. That was my biggest difficulty, I think, in the process of adapting it. Beyond the usual challenges of like deciding, what of Octavia Butler's genius prose to cut or what scenes to cut or those concerns. But in terms of making sure we did right by the legacy of the book and so many people's investment in both the text and an Earthseed as an ideology, we had Tananarive do as a sensitivity reader. So she read the finished script to give us notes, and as I think she teaches it like every semester at UCLA. Is that right?
Yeah, UCLA.
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure we had someone who was really familiar with the work and familiar not just with the surface elements of the work, and of course, as a genius writer herself. We were really lucky to have her to look and make sure that we were not misrepresenting any of that ideology that people hold so dear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not lost on us that we're two cis het men, and, one of us is white, and then that also changes the narrative. Which one of us is? I'm sorry. It's always crazy.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying though is that it's a big, it's a heavy lift, for us in particular for different reasons, both from intersectional backgrounds and stuff like that. So we're definitely cognizant of that, and we didn't actually have the agency to actually request a Black woman be a sensitivity reader on this amazing story by this incredible Black woman. You know what I'm saying? So that was part of it too. I mean, we could talk more about like the images later, but yeah, I think the notion of responsibility is something that definitely we're very, very cognizant of, and we're trying to be very careful with, and to treat it thusly, because we know that Octavia Butler's work is sacred to so many people,
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, right? Because I was like, do I ask? I was like, I'm gonna let them say something. Because Damian, I don't know if you know this, but you're the first non-melanated person to be on Sister Sci-Fi Wanda on Wednesday. So I don't know if that's a congratulations or something else.
Thank you. No, that's 100% an honor, and I'll amend my bio accordingly. I mean, probably not, but no, thank you so much. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised. It's hard. It's weird to talk about because, like, in one sense, I kind of just set the whole whiteness thing to the side just to get on with the work. But I mean, obviously, white guy. And by obviously, I mean you could probably see my veins through the skin. It's not pretty. But I don't know. In one sense, like, it's a perfectly valid criticism to say that someone who looks like me and has had the particular systemic privileges that I've had should not be involved in the adaptation. But at the same time, there's so much in Butler's work that, if we're talking about personal identification, I identify with a great deal. Clearly not race and gender related, but just like worldview and sort of her own feelings of, like, she talks about shyness and stuff, and I really like connect with that, and just her intense respect for writing as a craft is something that I have a strong connection with. But I think the thing at the end of the day that makes me feel like, it's okay to be the first white person here on the Wind Down Wednesday. I mean, other than the fact that I was invited, because obviously I'm not going to bust in.
Obviously, you're
Right.
yes.
But I think the thing that like sort of makes me feel, if not justified, at least like there's support for it, is that John and I have in various ways been doing work around a lot of the topics and ideas that Butler deals with, right? So identity, sexuality, mass media representation. These are things that like we were already working on in different ways.
Yeah.
And also just like the fact that I'm able to, in collaboration, obviously, with the text, with John, with our editors and our color flatters, our like everybody. But that I'm able to provide a piece of that, it just feels like a gift and an honor and a way to sort of give back, or to not give back, but to just be of use, be of service, I guess. So just feeling like that there's a lineage there, and it just feels like this is just like who I am and work that I do. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah, I have to
Thank you.
piggyback too. I was going to say that, that idea of service is something that resonates with both of us. When we first met, like we realized like a lot of our aesthetics and, like you said, worldview and politics kind of align with each other, surprisingly. And we were like, oh, okay, you're like me. We should work together. So that's kind of like how we started working. And, I feel like we, in some ways, and we can get into that we were destined to work on this stuff together, because we tried to, adapt Kindred once. What was it, back in 2009?
I think it was 9.
Yeah, and we didn't get this is when Beacon Press was trying to do a black and white Kindred graphic novel, and we submitted very quickly a proposal for it, and we didn't get it. So it circled back to us a few years later. It's really weird. We can we don't have to go into the details about it, but it was just like kind of amazing that this is something that we wanted to do, and then kind of stumbled into to doing it anyway. So I feel like in some ways the universe is telling us that we were the people that actually do it. So we had to come to grips with that. So yeah, because it is heavy. Like you said, it is a lot to carry. And I don't think that people realize, like, just how much how inside of the narrative you have to get to actually like interpret it to a different medium. I mean, Damian probably consumes the text at least like 12, 13 times at least, maybe more,
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll be working with the audiobook playing, and then it goes the characters, designs, and stuff like that, and also just kind of thinking about the best ways to portray it. How do you actually make it so that it's accessible and not overtly violent? Because she does have a lot of traumatic instances, in particular in Parable of Sower. It's like, but you have to turn yourself into like, you have to open up yourself to so much negative affect in some ways too. I mean, at the end of the day, I think her work is obviously talking about hope and about perseverance and about like power structures, but the imbibing of like the work of her work into your own process and into your own body is very taxing, and very heavy. There's times like in Kindred when I was like literally like sobbing while I'm drawing the pages, yeah, because it gets inside you, and so I definitely don't think that and we can describe it to our publishers and our editors and stuff, but if you're not wrestling with it on a day-to-day basis, there's no way you can really understand the level of stress that you put yourself through physically and mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, when we first pitched the project and didn't get it, that was the hardest I think either of us had worked on a comic thing prior to that. Does that sound right, John? I mean, the graphic novel, obviously, but that was over a long period of time. This was like the largest burst of like super concentrated, I got to make this comic energy up to that point.
Yeah.
And of course, we were super disappointed to not get it because we are such fans of her work. But when it came back around, like, I mean, I suppose like anything, but you don't know until you're in it, right? Like, so as much as I could have anticipated the difficulty and the weight that John's talking about, it was so much more and more complex than I think anyone could anticipate. Just because it is such a unusual way to live, I guess. Like reading Parable of Sower 14 times and trying to dig out the subtext is like it does things to you, right? All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. It is no more true or no more evident, I guess, than when you're adapting an Octavia Butler novel.
Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah. Like, who is the shaper? Is it her, or is it us, or is it both of us? You know, we're shaping the text. The text is shaping us. You know, and honestly, I have to say, I mean, it's definitely transformed the way we think about how we work. You know, and made us. I mean, Damian and I already work well together, but it's just like I think it's also intensified that connection as far as like how we actually collaborate. You know.
Because it's trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Kind of, right?
Because, I mean, Parable of the Sower it's a heavy text to read.
Yeah.
So to see some of the images with some of the scenes was just like, oh my gosh. So I wanted to ask, like, what was the most difficult scene to adapt? But I was like, I don't want to make y'all relive it.
No,
So I'll change
at this point. No, it's totally fine. Yeah.
I'm just a big old.
No. I'm changing it. I wanted to ask instead, what was the most joyous scene to adapt?
You said the most joyous?
Yes.
Oh, probably the end, right? Like finishing is usually the most joyous.
The end.
Actually, I mean, the end of Sower is pretty much. I mean, even though there's the skulls and everything, like it is sort of as joyous as it gets for quite a long stretch. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the end. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I have to say, like, some of my favorite spaces to draw were definitely the end. As far as like, the trek through the firestorm, actually was, there was this kind of like, yeah, all those pictures, and actually getting there to what would become Acorn. Those were some satisfying images to make. I did like those pieces. Yeah, definitely. I have to say, like, one of my favorite things to draw though was this scene that Damian wrote. It's like the shootout. It was a shootout scene actually. That was extreme. The way that he wrote it, it's like it was almost in real time with the way that the bullet would have hit. That kind of thing. The part I'm talking about, Damian. When they're behind the
woods. Yeah, in the woods when Harry has a shotgun.
Yeah.
No, it just that like, and I agree. That's like one of the most perfect pages of comics in there. Is like comics as a medium because the timing and everything, like it all just hits exactly right. For how I think I picture in my head, and obviously John, how you had in your head, but that it just has like a cinematic pace almost to it that I think we nailed on that page.
It's funny because we're talking about a little bit about more formal aspects of adapting it, and I think that one of the things that I really resonated with is that when we decided to use the color red for her hyperempathy in this story, that as we started working on the story, we started to realize, like, oh, this is actually a really interesting device for storytelling. It's particularly like in comics, actually, too, because you can literally draw a direct connection between the thing that was triggering her, to her reaction through her hyperempathy, in the story. By the way, for those of y'all who don't know, like, Lauren Olamina, she has this this disorder, and it's psychosomatic. So basically, her mind when she sees pleasure or pain, she embodies it in her. And this is something that people who have, I guess I don't know, I don't want to call it a birth defect, but it's just it is connect. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a mutation caused by a drug her mom took,
That's
like
right.
a smart drug.
Yes.
So you can it's sort of I mean even that is pretty believable
Yeah.
because there were examples of I forget what the one the middle I forget, there were like examples, contemporary examples she was drawing from with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But also I was going to say, hey Keithan.
What's up, Keithan?
Uh,
And I was trying to find like a great example of a scene of like the hyperempathy in the red, and I think this might be, but it's hard for me to like multitask. And I should have
don't
had
worry
the
about
tabs before coming live. But like life is lifing.
Yeah, always.
I will read the comment. I think the atmosphere of when you guys put the book in was right for success versus the time you originally pitched.
Are we talking for Kindred?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine. So now switching to Kindred, I couldn't imagine Kindred being black and white,
Yeah.
like seeing it in color.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously y'all could have, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's like both graphic novels are so vivid in color. What was the part that it was hard to exclude in the graphic novel from Parable of the Sower?
yes, there are things. I'm trying to remember now because I wrote it so long ago, and then when I finished the script, I'm sorry, for Sower, I started the script for Talents like pretty much right away, so it kind of blurs together now. I think there was more with the. Oh, you know what it was? I know what it was. Sorry, it took me a second. At the end, she introduces like 14 new characters real quick, and their backstories are super interesting. And I wanted to do more with. I think it's the Moras. One of the. Yeah, the family gets introduced at the end, and talking about their sort of history as basically slaves, but like debt slaves. And some of those ideas, like I wanted to do more with, but yeah, there was just no space for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so many characters, so many. Oh my god, and even more so in Talents. Oh my god.
Yeah, Talents. I made a spreadsheet for all the characters. It was a lot.
Spreadsheet, like our and shout out to Alexandra Bachelor, who was our like color flatter foreman, color designer expert. Yeah, she did all of the color coding for like I think it's 75 characters in order for us to for talent. Yeah, exactly. So it's intense, and actually, yeah, there's a certain point in all three books where my role shifts from just doing like illustration work to become like a graphic project manager, because I learned from experience that if you're doing something this big, you actually do need a team of people to help, as far as like just color production and stuff like that. And we're very fortunate Damian is a great letterer as well, so basically just from the project logistics side, people I don't think understand like the problem solving that you have to have, and how many skill sets you actually have to possess in order to pull this off. Because I think that because of a misunderstanding, how long did we take to do Kindred, Damian? It was short.
Yeah, no.
There was a misunderstanding editorially, and
there's a misunderstanding editorially, and the time both John and I had already set aside to work on the project came and went, so we ended up having to like work on Kindred for like I think it was 12 months. Was it 12 months?
I think it was 12 months. I think we actually did it in a year.
Yeah. And like while we were doing other stuff, so it was quick.
So
it was a quick turnaround.
I wrote it in like 3 months, and I think I might have had eight to do 240-page full color graphic novel. Yep.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I was like, I did say that out loud. And Parable of the Sower came out, the graphic novel adaptation in 2020. Parable of the Talents graphic novel adaptation will come out in 2025. Why that pacing?
COVID and Megascope would be my answer.
Yeah, I think COVID, Megascope, and my son being diagnosed with autism as well. So that happened during the pandemic, but also other things too, like the shipping container crisis.
Yeah, I guess when I say COVID, I mean like all of the pandemic stuff.
All the COVID things. Because certain things that were affecting directly publication were like the shipping container crisis, where people were not being able to empty or load the shipping containers that actually send books back and forth to China, because of COVID. And the other one was the massive fires in Canada, which actually like drove up paper prices, because that's where a lot of our paper comes from, is from Canada, stuff like that. So a lot of it's like other systemic issues. Some of it was just like trying to figure out where the book would get placed, because what happened was, believe it or not, like Parable of the Sower, the hardcover didn't sell as well coming out the gate. Actually, it underperformed. For some reason, the soft cover actually just kind of skyrocketed. So it actually has been selling better. It was selling better, so that actually helped with the placement of the next book and stuff like that. And some of it was Megascope actually too, because we had to build a whole nother line. And then of course I moved. There was another project that I had to take on, all kinds of stuff, just to kind of make ends meet, because when COVID happened, it kind of disrupted a lot of our speaking engagements and stuff like that too. So it was just a lot of stuff.
A lot of life in
like you said, life was life, and exactly. And also, they didn't know what they were going to do with the books and stuff, because they were trying to figure out like, okay, well, this is affecting us on a very, very visceral, personal level. Like, how do we actually like survive? The world was on fire, like literally. So
yeah. I've said this before, like, because I finished the first draft of the script for Talents was like March 2020, and I felt like I finished writing the parables, and then I went to live in them, which is like, I don't know. I can't wait to hold Parable of the Talents and sort of be done with this world, like, adapting this world.
It's a lot.
Because it's way too close to ours.
It really is. I mean, like I felt like when I was staying we used to live downtown in Riverside, that I would step outside of the apartment complex into, just smell.
encampment.
Yeah, into like Robledo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was really wild. And then it's just like I said, it's a lot of stuff. I think I was really reluctant to step back into that world too as an illustrator as well. And this is something I've been dealing with fairly recently. Like, man, I think that part of the delay was just like fear of being traumatized like that again. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing. But I have to say though, even though these disruptions happened to our schedule, the book is actually coming out in the perfect time. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
it's a perfect. Yeah, because well, as you know, I'm sorry. Right quick. Parable of the Sower starts in 2024, as you stated, and then it ends in 2027. Right. 2027, it would be Octavia Butler's 80th birthday, actually, and also, the main character dies, I think, at 81 or something like that, right?
Yeah, in her 80s. Yeah.
I think she's like early.
Lauren,
yeah, it's just interesting
yeah.
stuff. And so, like, the period of time, I mean, literally, like, the first entry in Olamina's diary is July 20th, 2024, which happened this summer, as you know. So it was like so surreal.
It's wild.
Yes, Jared. I mean, Jared with his like "Make America Great Again" slogan in the book.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot, man. I mean, it's like it's post pandemic as well. I mean, there was actually a big and yeah, diseases and all kinds of stuff, infrastructure issues, Christian nationalists, yeah, all the stuff. So,
All the things. All the things. Especially thinking about parable of the sower in an election year. Where do you feel, based off the lessons in the text, where do you pull a sense of empowerment? Because I know there's a lot of fear. There's like, where do you feel like your places of safety and like we'll get through this?
I mean, I definitely. So like, we got to pitch which books we wanted to adapt after Kindred. So Kindred sort of just came to us with Abrams. So like, what?
I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it just came, and then Kindred came out in 2017. So right when what's his face was starting to be president, and now like just based on that, I was like, oh, we should probably pitch the parables since that seems to be what's about to happen. And like talk about calling your shot, like Octavia like researched it very well. I shouldn't say Octavia, I didn't know her. Miss Butler researched it very well. And to the extent that it was like, well, yeah, pretty spot on to like almost down to the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was the inspiration for pitching the parables. So in that sense, it's kind of not an accident that it fits our team, but at the same time, like,
So,
yeah,
in a sense, yeah, what I was talking about is like, yeah, so Kendrick came to us because I think we were kind of destined to work on it, but we asked for this.
yeah, we did this to ourselves. Yeah.
We were like, okay, well, as you said, what Damian said about service, I mean, in some ways, we did it as a public service because the reason why she made it was a cautionary tale. She created parables because she was trying to warn us about if we keep going this way, this is where we will end up. And so I think
Right.
when we understood that and we saw what was coming, we felt the responsibility, to work on it. So I think regardless of what jumps off, that both Damian and I are pretty stubborn and resilient. So it's kind of like another thing that that connects us. Actually, it's very stubborn.
Yeah.
And we.
Another thing I think that connects us to Octavia Butler, right? Like she talks about herself as being very kind of stubborn and the positive obsession. That whole idea of the positive obsession.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we'll survive. That's the ultimate lesson of the parables. I think is that you find your people, you do what you can, and survive and try to make things better in any small way you can. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kindness eases change. That's one of the Earthseed verses that sticks with me, and I think that I'm most capable of enacting in my daily life.
Yeah.
That is powerful. Yeah, I was looking at that quote the other day, like kindness eases change. I'm like, that is powerful. Rewinding down, I know y'all are like, look, we haven't even published Parable of Talents yet. What's next? Like, are we gonna get done? John is like, don't ask me that question. Which is fair, but I can't help myself. So yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Damian.
Well, I mean, I'll just like it's not like a secret. I don't like we've pitched.
Even if it is, are they gonna call us and stop us from talking?
I don't know. Keithan don't care. Keithan's like, you can tell us. Yeah. So it's we've pitched Wild Seed, which is John's favorite. Kindred's probably my favorite. Or that was the one that really was the first one I read. Wild Seed was the John read, so we wanted that is the one I think we're most keen to work on.
That would be huge.
And then also we put together a pitch for Dawn as well.
Yay! I mean, Dawn is my favorite, but when you were like, "Yeah, this is the first I read. It's my favorite. This is the first I read. That's my favorite." I think no, actually,
Oh
Fledgling
wow.
was the first that I read, and Dawn is my favorite. Yeah. I just love the biotechnology, and I can't wait to see the Owen Collie. Like, I
Well,
cannot wait to see
if we
y'all do the Owen Collie. So,
We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
but I'm
We haven't
but I'm most
had a
excited about
talk to the
YC.
estate or Abrams about it, but we're we'll see. So,
Okay, I'm excited for all the things.
But we're working on other stuff in the meantime too. So
yeah.
yes.
I'm a bookseller, so I'm excited about Parable of the Talents, but like the broader community, how can we support Parable of the Talents? Because I was surprised when you're like the graphic novel of Parable of the Sower wasn't like
Well,
flying off the shelves right out the gate.
we were in the middle of a pandemic.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
So it came, same thing with Megascope. Like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you start a line of graphic novels, do not launch it during a pandemic. Help it. If you can help it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, please don't do that. That's the end of my TED Talk /PSA. Anyway, so I'm like, just don't do it. But yeah, I think that's what it is. To support us, pre-orders always wonderful. That's really great. Tell people about it.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you like it, give it a good review on anywhere, Goodreads or something.
Yeah.
Any positive energy pretty much helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Tell people. Yeah.
And
Hey,
if you like these, check out Megascope. Megascope has a fine line of graphic novels available for purchase at great booksellers.
Right.
Like,
you can actually
all the
right now.
best booksellers.
Yeah. We have some cool stuff jumping off there too, by the way. Some really interesting things that you would probably, including an adaptation of Red Dirt Witch.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be lovely. Our artists are Ashley Woods and Aletha Martinez.
What's it? Aletha Martinez did Nubia. The Nubia. Yes. Okay. I am very new to graphic novels, so like I don't know, but yes, I do remember. Yo, that's really exciting. Say the last part. I think in my excitement I didn't hear it.
Adapted by Dr. Kenitra Brooks is the
nice. Yay. So yeah, that's brilliant news. I enjoyed Red Dirt Witch in How Long to Black Futures Month so much. It was one of my favorites. So that'll be an amazing graphic novel. I also enjoyed After the Rain, and like Megascope has a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for all the things. So thank you so much. So if you are on Sistah Scifi social media, email us, that we have pre-orders of Parable of the Talents signed by, can I call y'all the Dynamic Duo? I don't know why I'm so.
Dynamic and two of us.
Yes, totally accepted.
Signed by the Dynamic Duo. Yeah, so we're super excited about that. It comes out in, I'm really bad with dates and time. April. Yes. April 2025.
We were very proud of it. I mean, Damian wrote an amazing script. We had a great, we had help from David Brame with breakdowns. We had a great coloring team. I'm stoked about how people are going to react to it. I think it's a lovely book. So,
I think we've definitely pushed our sort of adaptation style further than we have before with this one. So, I hope people dig it.
I don't know. What is that? I guess I'm like, what does that mean? I guess we'll have to read the book.
I can send you some preview things,
Ooh, that was
only for
exciting.
you. Nobody. I'm just kidding. Only for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's to me, not to y'all. I mean, y'all are amazing too, but I'm here for it. I mean, I know I should be out, but no, I'm here for it. As a book seller, I'm usually like the last person to get anything. It's like the book, we are done. Here you go. So I'm excited to be one of the cool kids. Again, if you're watching it and you enjoyed this conversation, please click the little white arrow. You can follow us, hear updates, tell us what you think about the world and the universe and what you're navigating and how the words of Octavia Butler are helping you get through. Yeah. John, Damian, anything else you want to say as we close? Thank you so much for your time and your talent and all the things. I'm really grateful.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for bringing this community together, and thank you everybody else for joining us. And thank you, John, just cause.
Thank you, Damian, and thank you for thanking me. And the other thing is also we're going to be if anybody on here is going to be in Arlington, Virginia on the 24th, right? We're doing
At the
a lecture at the library in Arlington, Virginia called Arlington Reads about Parable of the Sower. So come check us out.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Is that on your Instagram? I'll find it. If you have the bandwidth to send it to me via Instagram Messenger, I will post it and I'll include it in my email blast. It'll go out tomorrow-ish.
I'll see if I can find the but they have it up somewhere because it's
yeah. One of us will find it and send it.
There you go.
Yeah, only if it feels at ease. Otherwise, I'll Google it and include it in the email.
Awesome.
Yay! Thank you so much. Beautiful work, all the work, but these are the two that are within arm's reach. And we will be in community soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.